Okay, so let's go. Last time everyone got into it. If you remember, we all had to ask questions. Okay, remember the guy with the shirt over there jumped in a few times. Remember that? I don't know his name, right? He's pretending. Chaim Moshe was pretending he wasn't listening, but he was listening. You can jump in again. It's fine. You can cite yourself again also. So this week's Parsha, there's a fascinating story. And Thursday night we don't do Kabbalah, but obviously it's one of the most mystical ideas in the Torah. Something happened with Moshe Rabbeinu with a snake. I have no idea, beyond our pay grade here, as they say. And in the end, Tziporah did the milah for their son. It's actually machlokes rishonim. Which son? Machlokes rishonim. It's a big debate. What it is? A lot of pronouns in that parsha. Creates a lot of problems. It's him, her, it's she. So you don't know who they're talking about. But okay. As a side, just for a little musa, instead of the Dar Shimshon, the Alta Fuzlabatka said, to imagine what it's like, a woman sitting in a hotel room, she gets up in the middle of the night, if you could picture it like a Disney movie, a lot of use such words, and you see her husband's being swallowed by a snake. And instead of panicking and screaming and going crazy like you'd expect, what she did was, she clapped right away, I have to do a milah, did the whole cheshbon, she did a milah, calm and collective. In order to do a milah, you got to be calm. If your hands are shaking, it's not going to work. So you see what it means to be on a calm level of greatness, and that's what the greatness of. It's not my words from the altar, and it's a goal to get to be on the hopefully never stressful situations, but when you are, to be as calm as can be. So the Gemara is a kasha. There's really a steer in Gemaras, but the Gemara in Avodah Zarah discusses whether a woman who does a milah, if it works. Now, ideally, the Gemara in Chavtes and Kedushin, that's probably one of the most famous places in Shas, discusses that women are not obligated in the midst of milah. That's a good pasuk in the Torah that says oisai v'lo yoisa. Oisai v'lo yoisa means a father, is obligated in milah and a mother's not. That's a famous kasha. That's probably what you learned in camp. That what it means. Why is he obligated, not her? From a pasuk, it's a mitzvah sheishes man grandma. Women are not obligated any mitzvah like that. So why do you need a pasuk? And that's a more famous Tosfos. But that's if they're obligated in the mitzvah or not. Tosfos points out that if they're obligated, it's a Gemara and Kedushin. But then, what about if they do it? They're not obligated. Let's say they do it. What happens now? It's Gemara and Avodah Zarah is machlokes. If a female does the milah, she performs the milah, does it successfully work or not? Or it doesn't work? You got to do it again. I mean, you can't physically do it again. You do a tavas dam bris, but that's the question. In the Gemara, machlokes in the Gemara. So one of the Gemara, the Mandama who says it works, has a very good raya. This week's parsha. He says, if you're going to say a milah doesn't work, so how did Tziporah do a milah? Most obvious question around. It's such a big question that you think, what is the first one saying? How can he doesn't know a pasuk in the Torah? So he comes up with an answer. The Gemara asks this kasha, all Gemaras. The Gemara answers that, what does it mean that if you have to read the psukim in front of us, what does it mean that she did the milah? Does not mean she did the milah. That's not even the pasuk. That's even the pasuk if you go to the wrong yeshiva. But if you go to the right yeshiva, you not read the pasuk means that she started the process, or more importantly, she arranged for someone else to do it. She was the mamana shliach. So even though you read it and it seems like Parsha that she did the milah, I think 99% of people read that way. There's a mandam in the Gemara that says it's not the way to read the pasuk. Again, there's pronouns, you can get away with it. She arranged for someone else to do it. That's all aleph pays in two different Gemaras and two different Taisim. If you could say aleph pays on two Gemaras and two Taisim. So again, are women obligated in the mitzvah? No debate, no way. Women are not obligated in the mitzvah. That's an open Gemara, open pasuk, and an open Taisim of why you need a pasuk. But that's clear. If women do it, that's a machlokes in the Gemara. Based on, and that will be the differentiation, the nafkamina between whether or not women are obligated in the pasuk. Can it work lamafreya? In hindsight, does it work at all? That will be told in the Gemara how you read the Gemara and how you read the psukim over here. Okay, so let's analyze this a little bit here. The Matzchias in the Gemara on Avodah Zarah has a bomb kasha, and that's what we're going to base our whole shir on tonight. The Matzchias' kasha is like this: we're debating whether a female mother can perform a milah that it would work, and the raya is from a pasuk by Tziporah. So he says, wait a second, I don't know if that's even a good raya. Before the Gemara is debating it, let's discuss the whole thing. So there's another Gemara. I'm not going too fast, Abby. Another Gemara. Gemara in Sanhedrin has a concept like this. Avram Avinu and his children were obligated in milah. Avram was obligated to gemal his children. That's where it comes from. What about Avram's children? So we know Yitzchak and his children that comes to us today, all of us are obligated in the midst of milah. But Avram had another wife, another set of kids, called the Bnei Keturah. The Bnei Keturah were from, Keturah maybe Hagar. There were 6 kids there. And the Gemara says that the Bnei Keturah are obligated in the mitzvah of milah. This nation of 6 nations are obligated in the mitzvah of milah. And as a machlokes, how to read the Gemara? Open Gemara, machlokes. Rashi learns that who was obligated in the midst of milah from the Keturah? That first generation. They were Avram's children. So Avram was given this command to have this special new thing called milah in the world, and Avram's children had this command. But that doesn't get passed on. Only Yitzchak's children gets passed on till today. So all of us today are obligated in milah. But the Bnei Keturah were obligated. That means literally the Bnei Keturah. The children of Keturah, those people themselves. Doesn't mean the Bnei Keturah means like Bnei Yisrael today. We say Bnei Yisrael today. It doesn't mean the children of Yisrael. That's the whole machlokes last week in the Parsha. Too fast. But anyway, the idea is, what does it mean when you say Bnei Keturah mechuyev? Rashi learns very simple, open Rashi over there. Rashi says Bnei Keturah means those kids themselves. The Rambam clearly argues, and the Rambam says no. Bnei Keturah until today are obligated in the midst of milah. Forever and ever, if you were a child of Avram Avinu, there were other nations in the world, but if you came from the line of Avram Avinu, then you're in the game. Bnei Keturah is in the game, and Yitzchak's in the game. Why Yishmael's not? Not for now. And you're in the game forever and ever. So the Rambam says openly, that if you would find someone today from Bnei Keturah, and a guy would have a lineage, he would trace back his lineage, and he would show you Ben Achaben, whatever, all the way back to Keturah land, wherever that was, and he would show you, I come from Keturah. We would turn to the guy, and we'd become Chabad for an hour, and we'd say, listen, we have a suggestion for you. You could put on tefillin, that's okay. We'll have a tank for you to do that. We have something else for you. You're Bnei Keturah, you take out a knife, and you sharpen the knife, you say, please lie down, we're gonna circumcise. You might get arrested. And other things. But that's the law that is brought down. We have to know the 7 is Bnei Noach. The 9th one, if you're 7 is Bnei Noach, means Bnei Noach of regular people. But according to the Rambam, the Bnei Keturah today are obligated in the midst of approval, in the midst of milah. No questions asked. The Rambam says it openly. Every Bnei Keturah today. Now, okay, the question is, do you have a Bnei Keturah today? You have to track down someone with a star yichus. And the Shagasaya points out a contradiction in the Rambam. Am I going too fast? Got a lot of people. Okay, let me slow it down a little bit. We have a famous king called Sancherib. Sancherib, when he captured the world, had an idea. To avoid revolutions, what he did was he moved everyone around. Like Yosef did in Mitzrayim, Rashi a couple weeks ago. What he did was he took everyone from side A and put them in side B. Whatever he did. I don't know if it's side A, B, but whatever he did, he divided the nation up and he moved everyone around. No one had a homeland anymore. The Rambam says, the Gemara says, that there are certain rules that apply to non-Jewish nations. Well, we don't care who the non-Jewish guy is. Yes, there is. Why? Let's say you're from the nation of Ammon and Moav. You can't marry Ammon and Moav for the first 3 generations. There's going to be an issue. We have certain laws that are practical to certain of the 70 nations. A few of them are practical. So the Rambam says, you should know, if someone comes over to you and says, by the way, I come from Ammon, I want to convert. You tell the guy, listen, normally Ammon people, you convert, you can't get married so fast. There's an issue going on here. But you know what? We don't believe you. Because you don't believe me. I want to convert. No, we believe you on that part. We don't believe you that you're from Ammon. I say, I have a shtar yichus. I'm going to tell you, let me show you my shtar. You come to the shtar yichus. It goes back 15 generations to Ammon. And we see he comes from Ammon. Tell the guy, it doesn't make a difference to us. You know why? Sancherib came and messed up the whole world. Doesn't make a difference to us. So whatever you say you are, if you are a non-Jewish person, you say if you come from place X means nothing to us. We don't go with that. Sancherib messed up the whole world. So no one can say where they come from. Any nation says they come from, that's irrelevant. You claim you're from Amalek? I don't know. We don't trust you. Ammon, Moav, what?
Romans, I think.
No, not a Rambam though. I have to look that up, yeah? So any nation in the world comes forward, he says no. So the Shagasaya has a ban kasha. How does the Rambam write the Bnei Keturah today? Amuchayiv milah. There's no such thing as Bnei Keturah. Now, if you want to say it's theoretical, then you should have said Ammon and Moav. The Rambam says Ammon and Moav come to you today. We say we're Moav, we're Mitzri. These are the nations that you can't marry right away. We have certain halachas of conversion. No, we don't trust you. Everyone can convert, but then certain laws apply to certain nations. When you convert, you're irrelevant. So if it's irrelevant by all the nations of Ammon and Moav, why can Sancherib mess up the entire world? So when a guy comes from Bnei Keturah, what are you taking a knife for? Tell the guy, listen, shkoyach, we see your star, it's irrelevant to us. We don't believe you anymore. Sancherib messed up the world.
Was Keturah a nation? Or Keturah was just, there were people had that yichus, so does it make it yichus? Right.
You have to know what
that wasn't a nation, so it wasn't like
you're separating that Ammon and Moav is called a nation, and Keturah is not called a nation.
Right.
It's a good gang, might be right. Might be wrong, but might be right. It depends exactly what the words in your mind mean of nation and think. I don't know what you mean by nation. You have to clearly define what means a nation, what means a nationality. It sounds like right? It sounds like you're identifying as a Palestinian. No, I'm saying that's how it works. I'm saying.
Isn't Midyan one of the Zionist 70 nations?
Yeah.
Bnei Keturah.
Right, Bnei Keturah comes to Midyan, right? Oh. So right now we have a steer and a Rambam. Let's go back what we did so far because they're going a little fast. We have a machlokes and a Rambam Rashi. If Bnei Keturah today are obligated in the mitzvah, the Rambam says obligated in the mitzvah. He openly says it. We have another thing going on. We have a steer and a Rambam. The Rambam said Bnei Keturah today will be obligated. But Rambam we're not obligated because the Tzemach messed it up. We have a third thing going on here, just to picture the whole thing together, is that we have a question: are women mechuyev? If they do it, they're not mechuyev. If women perform a mitzvah of milah, doesn't work at all. So this is Maras Chay's kasha. We'll have to get back to the steer in a second. Maras Chay's kasha. Wait a second. There are certain people, the Rambam, who believes that all people come from Bnei Keturah, even till today, we have to know why in a second, are obligated mitzvah milah. So guess what? He just said correctly. Who comes to Bnei Keturah? I don't know Bnei Keturah, but I know one thing. I know Midyan. Midyan comes to Bnei Keturah. You know who's from Midyan? Yisroi, Kayin, Midyan. Who's Yisroi's daughter? Moshe Rabbeinu's wife. Shemot says Avakasha. The whole Gemara in Chazayin is debating whether women are allowed to perform a milah at the end. Does a milah work? Do women work? And you bring a raya from her. Who cares what she is? She's not doing milah as a Jewish woman. She was doing milah as a Keturah woman. She was mechayiv a milah for a different reason. Of course her milah works. She's a Keturah lady. Keturah lady is a mechayiv a milah. It doesn't have to do with Jewish ladies. How do you Gemara bring a raya that a Jewish lady is mechayiv in the mitzvah milah from Tziporah? Tziporah is not a Jewish lady. Tziporah is a Midyan lady. Her father was Yisroi. Yisroi is Midyan. Midyan comes from Keturah. Open Gemaras. Let me slow it down. Let's go back to the theory. We're going to answer everything. You still with me? Okay. Yes. So it goes like this. We have a contradiction in the Rambam. We're going to answer first. The Rambam in one place says, all nationalities today, if you show up with a green card, you say you're from Mexico, we don't believe you. We believe you're American. Why? Because we're a melting pot. Everyone's American. But I have a star saying I come from Mexico. I came across the border. It's irrelevant to us. The only person that seems to work on according to the Rambam, it doesn't make sense. The Rambam seems to say when it comes to Bnei Keturah, and he says, I am Bnei Keturah, we're going to accept that contract and take out a knife and try to circumcise him. How does it work? So the Shmuel Landau, who is the son of the Rebbe Yehuda, has a genius answer. It's all going to tie in. It's cold, it's going to have a nice bow on it. How do you know, one of the most famous ideas, how do you know your bar mitzvah at 13 years old? You can find a pasuk. It's not so easy to find a source for it. Okay, 13 years old, you come bar mitzvah. At 13 years old, you know what happens? A Jewish kid, count for the minyan. Okay, great. You know what else happens? If you do something wrong, and you have two witnesses who testify that you violated Shabbos b'mezon, kill the guy. You're an adult. Okay. What about a guy? Does a guy have a bar mitzvah? Not that I know. Does a guy have a bar mitzvah? The answer is no. A guy doesn't have a bar mitzvah. Bas mitzvah? No. When does a guy become an adult? So the rule is like this. All measurements in Judaism are Torah measurements from Sinai. They're only given to the Jewish nation. Non-Jews do not have measurements. Which would mean, on a simple level, if a non-Jew steals a tenth of a penny, he's chayav misa. Because he's obligated not to steal, and there's no minimum measurements. There's no minimum or maximum measurement when it comes to a non-Jew. When does a non-Jew become an adult? We test him. Does he have a brain cell or not? If he has a brain cell, then he could be at 9 years old. You want to make a racist joke? Fill in whatever you're thinking, that's on tape. 18 years old, 37 years old, 82 years old. Become president of the United States, but you have to have a brain. The fact is, when are you judged as an adult? There's no time period. There's no kazayas. If a non-Jew wants to eat Ev Menachai, we get punished. You don't have to eat a kazayas of it. Measurements are non-applicable to non-Jews. That's a fact. As a non-Jew, there are no measurements. As a Jew, you have measurements. That's what we have. It's a good thing and a bad thing. At 13 years old, you can't. Whether you're mamish brilliant or not, at 13 years old, you can't. So if you're 13 and you're the genius kid, then at 7, the non-Jew loses. The not so smart non-Jew gains. He could be doing things until he's 18 years old. No one can judge him. He's not an adult yet. So the measurements work for Jews and for non-Jews. What else works for Jews and non-Jews? Majorities. The Rambam says like this. There are 4 nations, open Rambam, 4 nations that when they convert, they're not allowed to marry them right away. Maybe forever, it depends which nation. Ammon, Moav, Egyptians, another. So what happens now? What does the Rambam say? The guy comes and says, I'm from Ammon. So okay, we don't believe you. But maybe he is from Ammon. Maybe he is from Ammon. So Rambam says, I don't care. Sancheriv mixed up the world. Okay, therefore what? We go with majority. There's 70 non-Jewish nations. There's 4 you can't marry from. Majority wins. So any guy who comes over to you and says, ich ben Ammoni, ich ben Moavi, I'm one of these guys. We tell him, yeah, we go majority. We don't believe you. Majority wins, and therefore you're from probably 36 of the nations that's majority out of 70. 36 of the nations are good. You're good to go. As a Jew, we take majority and we tell the guy we don't care. Doesn't matter what you think. We go majority. You might be Ammon. Yeah, that's not. We don't care. What about a non-Jew? Could a non-Jew rely on the majority? No. Non-Jew can't rely on majority. Majority is a concept like a measurement. Why should you rely on majority? Why should you have a court case that you say 13 people say the guy should die, 11 say no? So why are we killing the guy? 11 judges who are geniuses said don't kill this guy. The answer is we go majority. By a non-Jew, you can't go to majority. You don't have 13-year-olds. You don't have kazayas. You don't have anything. There's no such thing as shurim. So a non-Jew cannot rely on the majority. Says Rav Shmuel Landau's genius answer. He says when it comes to marrying a Jew, post-conversion, the guy comes to us and says, I want to convert. I'm from Ammon. and he converts, and he's from Ammon, you tell him, listen, welcome to the club. We're going to marry you. Oh, but I read the Torah. It says Ammon can't. Yeah, we go majority. I'll tell you not Ammon. Statistically speaking, you're good, we're good. But when you meet a Bnei Keturah, when the Rambam's discussing meeting a Bnei Keturah, that he's mechuyev in the midst of milah, he's not talking about Bnei Keturah that converted. He's talking about Bnei Keturah that's a guy. You're going down the street, you ask the guy, you put on tefillin today? No, I'm a non-Jew. Okay, but you're from Keturah? Yeah, okay, then they have to have a circumcision. As a non-Jew, he cannot rely on the majority. Therefore, you're Bnei Keturah? You're obligated in the midst of milah. As a non-Jew. If he would convert to Judaism, then we play a different game. But when a person's a non-Jew, you do not work with measurements. No measurements. What?
So you can't rely on his Bnei Keturah. You can't rely on his majority, on same like on Mo, right?
I'm not sure what you're saying. I'm just not sure.
You can't say that he's not on Mo because the majority.
We assume I'm in a we go majority. So since we go majority, you're allowed to marry us. But Bnei Keturah cannot rely on the majority because we don't go majorities but non-Jews. Non-Jews stay with non-Jews, so you can't go majority. Okay, you're Bnei Keturah, you got to do a milah. That's what Shmuel Anda wants to answer. He says the Rambam's genius answer. You're on the right track. The genius question. You got to think it through. You're on the right track. Shmuel's on the right track.
Every guy has to have milah.
Oh, he's finishing up Shmuel's thought. Wait 1 second. Let's go. That's the genius kasha. The point is this: we have a contradiction. The Rambam says that the Ammon and Moav that come to us and then convert, we can marry them. We're not allowed to marry Ammon and Moav. Yeah, we don't trust them. We go majority. So why Bnei Keturah? Are you saying Bnei Keturah? Maybe they're not Bnei Keturah. Some Chayav messed up. Yeah, because you can't rely on a majority by Bnei Keturah. That's what Shmuel Landa, the son of Bnei Yehuda, says. The son of Bnei Yehuda has this genius answer. I want to answer the contradiction between the Rambam. There's my answer. The Mechas Chinuch and whoever what his name is, and maybe Sruli has Sasregan. It's a genius answer. Shmuel Landa's answer is genius, no question about it. But the conclusion should be the opposite. If you can't rely on majority, which way are you going? Are you going now that a Bnei Keturah is obligated in the mitzvah, or are you going that every non-Jew in the world is obligated in the mitzvah? We have a new decide right now. Every non-Jew in the world cannot rely on majority. You know what that means? Every non-Jew, there's a 1 out of 70 chance they come from Bnei Keturah. As a 1 out of 70 chance that they come from Bnei Keturah, they have to have a milah. So why are you saying Bnei Keturah mechuyev milah? Yeah, but once Ancherev came around, I'm available the whole world. You know what has to happen? You have to take the new tank and drive down Fifth Avenue, and come out with your knife and say, listen, every non-Jew, welcome to the club. Remain a non-Jew. We're not looking to convert you, but we're going to give you a circumcision. Very unhealthy idea to try it. We have to know why now. If we're not relying on a majority, then every non-Jew in the world has a 1% chance. That's the bomb kasha of the Mechas Chinuch on Shmuel Landau, who tried to answer this to the Rambam. Since I think
on the non-Jew side, they would because they
every non-Jew. Let me do this again because I think tonight I'm going faster than last time. Let's slow it down. You got me so excited last time, so I went fast.
Kashas you go in majority, plus the whole.
We do, not them. We do, correct. If a guy would eat Ev Menachai, he does not need a kazayis. If a guy, there's a machloikus, you have to know how to read it. If a guy wants to walk into a bezdin, he doesn't need 23, he doesn't need 13. It's possible to say, I'm telling you reality. If a guy is being judged by a Goyish court in a Goyish system, and one judge out of 23 says Mechayiv Misa, could be Mechayiv Misa. It's a question. It's a real question asked. Because a guy doesn't go out a rive. So I don't need a rive saying Mechayiv Misa. I have 23 judges. They don't need 22 judges.
That's straw. What about a straw? A straw is not a measurement. Is that straw a measurement? Do you need a straw?
Because it's not a measurement, it's not relevant to this conversation. That's a good question. But it's not relevant because it's not. We're going on measurements.
He might need that straw.
Different conversation, but we're discussing of measurements. Now, there's no such thing as measurements by non-Jews. Non-Jews don't have a 13-year-old measurement. They don't have a kazayis measurement. They have no measurements at all. There's no measurements at all to a non-Jew, which means you want to answer Bnei Keturah should be mechuyev. I like that, but guess what? Extend the theory to the end, and every non-Jew becomes mechuyev milah.
Very hard. Otherwise, only by using the measurement.
Meaning?
No,
why would every non-Jew become? Why could be suffix that every guy could be a Bnei Keturah?
If they don't need a majority, they don't have no. So why not the minimum? The same way if they steal 1 penny, or if they eat 1 brekela of Ev Menachai, a conniption of an Ev Menachai, they're mechuyev. If they steal 1 penny, anything they do that they're mechuyev in, there's no minimum. We have minimums. As Jews, we have minimums. If you eat less than a kazayis, you're not getting out.
But every guy is not 1% Bnei Keturah.
We don't know.
Right.
Sancherev mixed it up.
Not to be. A guy that eats a penny of chalev, he ate chalev. Or a guy that stole something, he stole something.
You know, he's
But
not
somebody that's 1% Bnei Keturah, it's not necessarily some
It's
Keturah.
it's not
It's a good theory, but I'll tell you why you're wrong. It's a
No,
good
it's
theory.
suffix. No, it's a suffix.
Correct. Because according to you, the guy who says he's Bnei Keturah also should be nothing.
So the question is, do we rule? A guy comes and says he is.
The Rambam says, if a guy says he says I'm Bnei, the Rambam doesn't say he says it. He's saying a Bnei Keturah today is mechuyev. Our question, Shakasari's question is, we don't trust what a guy says. Sancherev messed everything up. So you can't come and say I'm from Bnei Keturah. No one has a belief. Any contract he holds of a shtar yichus is worthless. That's what but the Rambam says yes.
Only for a Jew they use that.
No. That's a step after. The Rambam is saying that every Bnei Keturah today is mechuyev. Our question was, how are you mechuyev if all goyim don't have shtaros? All goyim are at the door. So Rabbi Shmuel Lander wanted to say, yeah, but as a goy, he has to be careful of the 1% because he says Bnei Keturah. But there's no thing as you saying Bnei Keturah doesn't make any sense. You can't say you're anything. We don't believe anybody when they say they have a star. You say you're Mexican, you say you're South African, you say you're French, you say you're German, who cares? We don't believe a word you say. Because Ancher came along at one point and said nobody has any yichus anymore. So if nobody has any yichus
When
anymore...
does it ever come into play, if whether we believe him or not?
Oh, so the first Rambam, that when the guy comes forward and said I'm from Amoin, we tell him we don't, when you desperately...
After he's Jewish, then we'll let him do the roiv, and then he won't, so that's only after he's Jewish.
Right.
But before he's Jewish, there is no roiv.
Correct. Therefore...
So the Bnei Keturah is not going by roiv or anything. It's a guy coming with a DNA test proving that he's a Bnei Keturah.
There's no such thing as proving.
He's saying that
Showing his DNA coming from Keturah straight down.
But we never believe that. The whole idea is that when the guy comes and says from Amoin, we don't believe him, right?
We don't believe
No,
him.
but that's yeah.
When he converts.
That's-
But we don't believe that he's originally from Amoin.
Side. Us marrying to
That's what Shmuel Lander's answer.
But then for looking at Bris, it doesn't give the other side.
But Shmuel Landau's answer is the difference between a guy and a Jew. Once he converts, we can work with the Roiv, but before he converts, we can't. That's what Shmuel Landau's answer. Therefore, before he converts, he says he's Keturah. He's 1% Keturah. We don't believe him. We don't believe him, but he's 1%. So the question he's asking, what the Mechasim is asking, everyone's 1%. Who's not 1%? At one point in time, Sancherev mixed the whole world up. Everyone's 1 out of 70. To make it sounds 1%, it's 1 out of 70. Every guy in the world is 1 out of 70 because no one has any yichus. Everyone's a mixed marriage at a certain point. So if everyone's a mixed marriage, every guy in the world becomes at one point a 1%er of a Bnei Keturah. Therefore, every guy in the world is mechuyev in this. That's what the Minchas Chinuch is asking on a Shmuel Landau. You're saying, well, but let's believe Bnei Keturah. We don't believe any of these guys. No one who comes with a contract is believed. So if no one who comes with a contract is believed, then then everyone should be obligated. According to the Svara, by the way, the Chiddush Nera pointed out is that Shmuel Landau was the son of the Rebbe Yehuda. The Rebbe Yehuda in his Slach writes this. He writes every guy is mechuyev milah. Grada. The son didn't go with this. I don't know. I can't answer that. What happened over there? But at one point in time, the Rebbe Yehuda seems to write the same thing. That every guy in the world is mechuyev milah until you convert. When you convert, you're mechuyev milah again, but for a different reason. Not because you're Bnei Keturah, because you're now a Jew. But as long as you're a guy, you are stateless, you are homeless, you are nationalityless, if that's even a word. You are nothing to us, and therefore we have to take on what? It should be all chumras as well. All chumras as well.
This is before it's not there.
No, yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, you guys think alike. Now what's interesting is, so we have now, but now we obviously don't, until tonight, no one here thought about going around being a milah all the guy in the world. I mean, Parah did it at one point maybe, in Egypt, but we don't do that. So we have to figure out what's going on here. Now, Rosh Steinman Zatzal is a bomb question. Unbelievable.
What's with ladies? You said that.
Oh, we'll go that direction. Okay. There's a lot going on here. Okay, let's go with the ladies now. So the son of the Minchas Chinuch has an unbelievable idea. So let's go back to the Gemara in Kedushin. The Gemara in Kedushin says, how do you know a female is not, a Jewish female, is not obligated mitzvah milah? Oisoi v'lo yoisah. It says that you are Gamal, he is Oisoi means the male has to be obligated in the mitzvah of the father. And we say Oisoi means not the female. Tosfos says a bomb question. I don't need Oisoi v'lo yoisah. Women are not mechuyev in any mitzvah, says Grandma. We only do a mitzvah of milah by daytime. We do not do a mitzvah of milah by nighttime. Therefore, it's a mitzvah, says Grandma. I don't need a pasuk. That's Tosfos' bomb question. What's the pasuk telling me? I know it already. Of course, women are not obligated. And that Tosfos is literally 150 different answers. Tosfos himself answers, we don't rule this way, that this Gemara in Kedushin, Daf Chav Tes, that says, Oisei v'lo yosah is needed, is because that Tosfos holds that milah is not a mitzvah shezman grama, and milah could be formed day and night. We don't do that. That means Tosfos, if you read Tosfos alone, you don't know any Rishonim. Gemara Rash Tosfos. The Gemara says, Oisei v'lo yosah, Tais said you don't need Oisa V'Lo Mitzvah Sheish Zman Grama. Yeah. Of course, this Gemara is holding. This Gemara believes that it's not a Mitzvah Sheish Zman Grama. That really women are milah is mechuyev a 24-hour thing, and therefore it's not a problem. But we don't believe that. So then we have a problem because we have an Oisa V'Lo Yisa. Why would the Torah say Oisa V'Lo Yisa? So any answer you're going to give, you're going to have to explain why Oisa V'Lo Yisa. So the Minchas Chinuch Son is an unbelievable question. When you say women are not mechuyev, we're talking about Jewish women. When we say Bnei Keturah obligated, they're obligated. What about the female Bnei Keturah? Women have there's no shiurim and there's no any of these rules. So if you want to say, as a theoretical question only, it does not exist in reality according to Minchas Chinuch Son, who's quoting this whole thing. Here goes real theoretical law. Would a female guy who's mechuyev in the Shev Mitzvah Bnei Noach, the women are mechuyev in the same, would they be permitted or not obligated in a mitzvah sheish zman grama? Doesn't exist in reality, but let's say theory. We know goyim are mechuyev in 7 mitzvahs. A guy can't eat even a chai. That applies to a male guy and a female guy. Guess what? A guy can't steal. That applies to a male guy and a female guy. Can't kill. Male and female. Of course. These are all normal things. But let's say you would have theoretically a mitzvah sheish zman grama that a guy is mechuyev in. Would the female guy say, oh, by the way, I'm out on this one? Or we would tell it, no. This whole idea of mitzvah sheish zman grama is a measurement concept. This doesn't go to you. You're like the guy when it comes to the situation. You don't count to this system. This system of measurements of 13. Could a female guy say, listen, 12 years old? I'm going to go 12 years old. No, you're not 12 years old. We measure your brain cells. Well, shit, but I want to go on 12 because the Torah says 12. Well, you can do whatever you want, but that's not reality. You go by the time there's no such thing as a Keturah. So now, Minchas Chinuch Son says, I have one theoretical case. That's his genius he comes up with. What about the women Keturah on milah? Are women Keturah on milah? Are women Keturah obligated in the midst of milah? He writes this in his thing.
It's not theoretical. That's real. It's real.
Right. He said everywhere else is theoretical. He comes back to this. He said like this: Bnei Keturah obligated in milah according to Rambam. That's an open Rambam. You can't argue on that. What about the female Bnei Keturah? Yes or no? Your first reaction should be, we don't separate goyim, men and women. We're equal opportunity rights. We're not racist or sexist. And all goyim are the same. A female guy can't steal. Female guy can't eat even a chai. Female guy is mechuyev milah. Well, why should it be different? Oh, but she wants to tie in a sheish zman grama? Okay, that's a Jewish concept. A sheish zman grama is a Jewish concept. It doesn't apply to you. So he wants to say that the pasuk in the Torah, the Gemara on Chavtes, that says, Oisai v'lo yaisa, is coming to exclude a female Keturah. That answers Tosfos' kasha. Tosfos says, well, I have a kasha. I don't need a pasuk in the Torah. Why? Because all women are pata. Because mitzvah sheish zman grama. Minchas Chinuch Son said, yeah, of course. Jewish women are pata. Mitzvah sheish zman grama. But Keturah women are not. This whole Gemara, you never thought of this before in your life. Only Minchas Chinuch Son is telling you, when you read Gemara Chavtes, know that the Gemara is referring to Bnei Keturah. Bnei Keturah are pata from a pasuk. Oisai v'lo yaisa. They wouldn't have a Keturah of a sheish zman grama, like Tais asked, because that wouldn't apply to women Keturah. So they have a new pasuk to tell us that, by the way, women are out. So now, what's Marat's highest question? We're putting a bow on it because he switched directions. We would have had a different bow. What was the kash we had before? Let's go back and test everybody. The Gemara Avodah Zarah says, if a Jewish female performs the ceremony of milah, does it work at all? She's not obligated. That's Gemara in Kedushin. But if she does it, does it work? Does it work? If a guy does a milah, it doesn't work, right? You're going to have to do a tafas dam bris. If a machine does a bris milah, you still got to do something. It doesn't work. So what about a female? Gemara's machlokes. Gemara says, wait, machlokes. We have an open pasuk in the Torah. This week's Parsha, hence why we're discussing it, that Tziporah gave a milah to her child. So clearly women can do it or else the whole game is over. What was Tziporah doing in a hotel room in the Malone over there? And if it doesn't work or anything, it must be women are obligated. So Maratzkias came along and said, what? She was Bnei Keturah. She was obligated. That's not what is the Gemara doing. He says the whole Gemara is wrong. She doesn't count at all. She wasn't doing it as a Jew. How is the Gemara having an argument about a Jew? She's not a Jew. She's Bnei Keturah. But according to the Minchas Chinuch Son, Oisai v'lo yaisa Kedushin is going on what? Bnei Keturah pata. The only way Tziporah is going to be doing a milah is because she's going on a Jew. So the Gemara could bring a raya that a Jewish female who does a milah works if you read the pasuk that way. Again, the other man said don't read the pasuk that way. Read the pasuk that she hired someone else to do it. But according to the Minchas Chinuch Son, that holds that there's a special pasuk to tell you that Bnei Keturah is going to be potter, which is a big chiddush learned in that Gemara. But he answers about Tosfos and about 14 other things with that. Then you could say, you can answer this question, he's not calling Maratz, he's at the same time. But you can answer the question where it's Maratz to say it. So what do we come out with before we stop the share and everyone's heads thinking this guy talks too fast? Comes out like this. Comes out, first of all, when you read the pasuk in the Torah, you have a Gemara in Avodah Zarah that tells you it's not as easy to read as you think. It's not clear when you read the pasuk that Tziporah actually did the milah. The Gemara gives two different answers. Either she hired someone to do the milah, that's like, you got to now figure out who is there with her. Who's in the hotel with Tziporah and the kids? For a genius from Chaim Kanievsky, shouldn't be doing this, too much information, Chaim Kanievsky says, the Rambam is a big chiddush. The Rambam says a cotton could do a milah. What? No Gemara says a cotton could do a milah. Could a cotton down for Yamid? No. Could a cotton do anything? No. He said cotton do a milah. And they all clear, where's the source of a Rambam? He says this pasuk right here. Because Tziporah is in the hotel, and the Gemara says that she had someone else do it. Who else in the hotel with her? It must be the other son. Gershon and what? And that's the only other person. He's a cotton at the time. What did he say? What's the name again? The second one.
Oh, yeah. Shemot has a question.
Eliezer, right? He just said it.
She threw the stone. She threw it. She didn't grab it.
Yes and no. It doesn't make a difference.
That's the second fact.
No. I understand what he's saying, but that doesn't change anything. Did what she do accomplish something? Whether she threw it or with her hands, it's the same question. If a female can't do anything because she's puzzled, disqualified, then what she does is irrelevant.
Okay.
So the Torah says she did something. You're discussing what she did, but if it's irrelevant, it's irrelevant. So she had to hire someone else. So when you're reading the Parsha, back to what we went to say. So when you're reading the Psukim in this week's Parsha, you have to know that Tziporah actually do it or not. That's question number one. That's a Gemara debate. That's not me. Gemara debates in Avodah Zarah. Who did the actual milah? Tziporah or she hired somebody? The Gemara has two answers. Either she hired a random person or she said Moshe Rabbeinu.
Yeah.
Either way. Either Moshe did it or someone else did it. Then we have a second question from the Maratz that's saying, wait a second. I don't know if she did it as a Jew or a non-Jew. If she's a non-Jew, then the whole game doesn't make any sense. For the Gemara, why is the Gemara discussing it with a non-Jewish woman? So we go with the son of the Minchas Chinuch, who says, no. Keturah women are out. Chiddush Noira. Keturah men are in. Keturah women are out. All other things are men and women are equal. Not when it comes to bris milah. Bris milah by Bnei Keturah is going to be pata. Therefore, the only reason she's doing it because she's a Jew. Shows you back into the game of Chavzai and how it works. After we didn't, and we answered the Stephen Rambam. Yeah, let me send this to me. I'll check it out.